Well, this is the first time I'm doing a review not at 2 in the morning, hence my hair is done. Also, this is the first time I'm going to be talking about a book. This book is called Hell House, written by Richard Matheson, and you might be thinking, I don't know who that person is, why would I care about anything he wrote? Ah, but you do know who this person is. He's the author of such novels as What Dreams May Come. Perhaps you've heard of that film starring Robin Williams. Also, I Am Legend, starring Will Smith, based off of his book, also called I Am Legend. Here's what my copy of the book looks like. But it's got I Am Legend and Hell House. So I read Hell House, which is in the back, and then now I'm going to the front and reading I Am Legend. So I Am Legend will be coming soon too. But let's focus on Hell House. If you can't tell, it's a horror book. It's basically a haunted house story. It stars, well, not stars, I mean, you know, there's 4 characters in it. Dr. Lionel Barrett, he's like this old physicist who, you know, wants to prove, well, he has weird thoughts on the whole, like, haunting thing. Like, he believes that there's entities and kind of things that are left behind, like energies, but he doesn't believe that they're actual, like, people. You know, they're just kind of what's left behind, if you will. He brings his wife Edith along, who is a little younger, but was raised in like a sexually repressed home, taught that like sex was evil, so she, you know, is afraid of sex. Then there's Florence Tanner, who is also a little younger, but still like, you know, like in her 40s or whatever. She used to be an actress, and now she's a spiritualist and a mental medium. A mental medium is kind of someone who, you know, can connect to the dead and talk to them, but like nothing physical happens. They just like channel that person, you know, through them. So that's a mental medium. And then lastly is a younger guy by the name of Benjamin Franklin Fisher. He is a physical medium, as in like, you know, where things can happen, like, you know, tables start shaking and, you know, crap like that. So stuff affecting the physical world. He gets brought to Hell House because he, 30 years prior, when he was like 15, he was brought to the house and was the only one who survived. Everyone else in that that group had died, and he was found like naked outside, like freaking out, crying like a little baby, and that's kind of messed up his house. So he wants to go back to Hell House for a chance to, you know, kind of take the day again. So these 4 people get hired by this guy named Douche, or Douche. I'm gonna call him Douche because it makes sense. Who is about to die and wants to know if there's something after life. So he hires them to go to Hell House, which is also known as the Belasco House, from this guy Emmerich Belasco, who was like a well-known Satanist and an orgiast. I don't know if that's a word, but he liked orgies and weird, satanic, creepy orgies at that. So the 4 of them go to the house. They have to spend a week there. First few nights, weird kind of stuff happens, but nothing too bad. You know, as in most horror films, they don't like jump right off the bat. You know, they slowly go. But then stuff starts to get real freaky. Florence really like wants to know everything about this house, so she like gives herself to this house, and it's bad. But she goes creepy and like thinks that Belasco had a son who was like tortured and wants to be free, and the only thing he wants before he can move on is to have sex with Florence. And she's like, no, 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 no. And then eventually she says yes, and it's creepy because like he's all like good looking and stuff, but then she like opens his eyes and it's a corpse and like all rotting and stuff, and then has sex with her. So you might notice that I've used the word sex or talked about sex a lot. That's because this book is is like on one hand really creepy and scary, like ghost-like, but it's also really creepy and scary sexually. You know, coming from like sexually repressed women, Dr. Lionel is impotent because of an illness he has. So there's a lot of like sexual tension in here, and Belasco, kind of his thing was all about sex. So like he has like a chapel dedicated to sex with like stained glass windows, but of like orgies and everything like that. So it was creepy. Now that might sound like that's not right up my alley, and I'm never gonna read that book. And if so, that's fine. But I will say, if you can kind of move past the sex, and if you enjoy a good horror book, which I've never really read any horror books, and I didn't know you could actually get scared from reading books. I mean, maybe some people reading Stephen King. I've only read 2 Stephen King novels, and neither one of them were particularly like scary. So I wasn't like in my bed reading and being like I was with this book. Actually, here I can even show you exactly what it looked like. It was me going. Although I don't read that close to my face, that would just be weird. Yeah, but it's one of those books that you hear a creak and you're like, oh, what's that? And then your cat scurries across the carpet, but you're like, oh, it's a ghost. So it's pretty creepy. It was a really creepy book. I really liked it. It's hard for me to recommend it to certain people because of the sexual content. But it was a good creep out book. So Stephen King, who, if you respect him, as a horror author, or if you think like his books are scary, here's what he had to say. Hell House is the scariest haunted house novel ever written. It looms over the rest the way mountains loom over the foothills. So, Stephen King thinks it's scary. I think it's scary. If you want a scary book that just creeps you to your deep core, this is the book. In my last video, Shutter Island, I was like, hey, thanks for jumping over to my new subscription thing. But only 3 people have. So, and I used to have like 10 subscribers. So those 10 subscribers, get over here. And everyone else, get over here.